Celebrating 10 years of award-winning car talk, it's the In Wheel Time Car Show, your weekly go-to all things automotive place. Today, coming to you from the monthly Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise-In out here at Loopy Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, Texas. Along with Mike Out of This World Mars, King Conrad DeLong, Jeff Zekin, our chief engineer, David Ainsley. I'm Don Armstrong. So glad that you could join us today. I wanted to let you know where this Loopy Tortilla is located. It is located on 99 the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard. So
is that in Katy?
In Katy.
I said Katy. Yes, it is in Katy.
Just checking.
Yeah, thank you. Not on the Katy Freeway, but in Katy, Texas.
In Katy.
Just to make sure that we're all straight on.
Just checking.
Yeah. So it's a beautiful day. We got plenty of cruisers out here. We're going to interview one right now, as a matter of fact. Mr. Mars?
Yes, this is Danny Shuhart.
Danny.
Morning. How y'all doing?
Good.
And he is driving this very unique vehicle sitting out here. I've heard about him forever and ever, but I've never actually seen one.
A Holden UTE.
Oh, really?
Yep.
So, in other words, it's kind of an El Camino.
Exactly.
Australian with an accent.
Right. Well, we stopped making them in '87, and they never stopped. They made them all the way to 2017.
Well, how the heck did you get that?
I came over here on a boat.
Did you have it shipped over here?
This one I actually bought off of eBay. It was already brought over.
Is here.
California with no drive line in it, right? So
No.
It's just a rolling chassis. You can't bring them over with a motor.
Oh, really?
It looks like it's got a Pontiac front end on it.
They look very similar, right? The GTO, the 406 GTO is the same version of this car, but in the coupe.
So that's the GTO in an El Camino style.
Called
Correct.
a UTE.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
And they've built that. They've been building that forever.
Since 1950.
I had no
Since
clue.
1951.
I had no clue.
Right.
And that is really good looking.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's my beater truck. That's my work truck.
So we have something other than the beater truck?
Well, I went to Australia to get parts for this one, and I found a black one. It was an
You
actual.
just couldn't help yourself.
It was an actual SS with an HSV body kit on it, lowered, and I said, I like this one much better. So I bought it, and we pulled the motor out with a forklift and in about 2 hours with a forklift and a seatbelt, and packed it full of parts and shipped it back over.
So why did you take the motor out?
Because I can't bring it over with an engine transmission because it's not emissions legal.
Oh, okay.
So did you ship the motor separately?
No, you can't.
No. So you can't even bring the motor in.
can't
You got to
bring the
start
motor.
over. So what did you start with when you got
Let
here?
me guess.
Well-
It's got an LS in it.
Well, it had an LS in it over there too.
It had an LS on that one. This one was originally a V6 car,
Okay.
so it was a base model. And my other one, my wife won't let me touch it until I sell this one. So
Seriously?
yeah, I've got too many cars. So that was one of the rules. I was only supposed to have one, and
You couldn't help yourself?
help myself,
You tried
so-
to sneak it in and it wouldn't work.
right. So
you said the black one has the HSV kit. HSV is Holden Specialty Vehicles.
Holden Special Vehicles, yeah.
Special Vehicles, which is kind of Holden's version of an AMG Mercedes.
Or like, when they like Hennessy or
Right.
whatever, they take factory vehicles and they
Upgrade them
swap
substantially.
the bumpers, the suspension, brakes, and give it a little
Sometimes
tune-up.
do some big engines in them
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Actually, the 2017 model Utes, the GTSRs, they had a LSA in them.
Oh wow.
Yeah, they 640 horse and nothing but smoke.
Not a bad day.
No.
So is that the plan for yours?
Mine's
Your wife's
actually-
not listening.
My black one is actually going to be a show car.
Okay.
So it'll be a magazine car. It'll have electroluminescent paint job and doors that come off and
So in
slide
other words, you're
back.
selling this one.
I'm selling this one, yeah. But I enjoy driving it. I haul engines in it, all kind of stuff.
So
I've taken a drag strip.
So how much you asking for it, or have you put a price on it yet?
26,000.
26.
Yeah.
So when Conrad goes to his car and pulls out the 26 grand, we could buy the car today.
Correct.
Said we.
You know what, Conrad? If
That's
you put all
actually
the
pretty
junk out
cool.
of your trunk in the back of
I,
it,
That's
I, got, I got a bigger trunk to storage stuff
And
in.
just for reference, it'll tow 1,000 pounds. So it's, in the bed. Mm-hmm. So it's got a pretty high tow rate on it.
that's just about everything out of the trunk.
And very unique vehicle in Australia very common, but here in the States, you really don't see very many.
I've
of
never
them.
seen
And
one.
especially with right-hand drive. So
Exactly.
there's a place in Colorado that converts them to left-hand drive.
Why?
They convert them for people that want them over here to
Why?
make them. Well, I know. I enjoy driving right-hand drive more anyway.
It's got to freak people out,
But
though.
it makes them 50-state legal.
Okay.
So,
So what
there's-
states are they not legal in as left?
Really?
I'm not sure.
Probably
California.
I'm
California.
betting
one of them.
California would be one of them, yeah.
Yeah, but
What's wrong with those people out there?
I don't know, man.
A lot.
Yeah, I don't want to get into that.
Yeah.
If you're listening in
wrong
California,
radio.
Wrong program.
if you're
Yeah,
watching
yeah.
or listening in California, we apologize, and we're not responsible for what comes out of our mouths. So just never mind.
But I'm sure that everywhere you go with that attracts a lot of attention, not just because you're sitting on the wrong side of the car or the right side of the car, depends on what you think of it, but just the fact that there's one here. And I know when I worked for General Motors back in the early 2000s, Pontiac had considered bringing the Ute over here, and
It was going to be a G8 ST.
right, and they were just too stupid to do that.
Well, they had a competition to win one, or a contest to win one. Somebody won it, and then they ended up reneging on the deal because of the closing out Pontiac. So they ended up not bringing it.
Huh.
What a shame.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of. I had El Camino when I was a teenager, and I love El Caminos.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I love Holdens, so I've got 5 Holdens.
Do you really?
Yeah, I've got a 2017 SS. I've got a 06 GTO, 05 GTO's 1,000 wheel horsepower and 200-mile record holder at the Texas Mile.
So are you going this weekend?
I am going this next weekend to support a friend of mine who's been trying to hit 200.
Yeah, the 28th, right?
And I did mine in 2015, but it took a lot of power and a lot of braking stuff along the
It's
way.
pushing a lot of
bad.
air around.
Yeah. So
Well, no wonder your wife's mad. You got 5 of them, you said.
Yeah.
5 or 6?
I've got 5.
5. Just checking.
Yeah.
Seeing if it was the same story.
Well, I've got like in all, I think we've got 13 or 14 vehicles. So, and I live in a subdivision.
Oh, you got a big
Are they all there
driveway.
at the house?
Well, I've got I
They're
live
all
in a
parked on the
cul-de-sac.
front yard?
No, I got 3 or 4 in the backyard. I put a gate in.
It's
so I
very
can drive
matter
in.
of fact. Yeah, just in the backyard. Go out, let's
Yeah.
go out back.
Oh my God!
He opens the hood of one of them. That's where he does the barbecue. and
Right.
He's the neighbor
That
that
everybody hates.
No, it's everybody wants.
no, none of the above, because he never has to cut his grass because there is none.
Exactly. It's all dead spots.
It's all dead spots.
Just move the car around every
Yeah.
now and then.
Yeah,
that's what I do.
exactly. Do all the other cars, do they work? Do they run?
The black Ute does not run because there's no motor in it.
Got
Like I
it.
say,
And what,
So is it in the backyard?
it's in the backyard. And
what
then
motor do you have planned for that?
it's going to have an LS2
Okay.
and a big old cam and airbag, air suspension.
Call it
and-
lumpy.
So
yeah.
let me ask you this. How long have you been married?
26 years.
So it's coming to an end soon if you don't get rid of one of the cars.
No, it's still going to sit there until I sell this one. And
I see.
then
No,
I
I
get to
think he was
start.
talking about the
Well,
marriage.
we could tell
Yeah,
how
no,
motivated.
because that's the way he works.
No, my wife's very supportive of me, and I'm supportive of her. And,
But just when there's no room in the backyard, then that's when we cut it off.
yeah. Well, this COVID thing kind of threw a hitch in me selling this thing. It's a pretty tight market to sell one of these. You know,
Thank you, John.
not everybody's looking for an El Camino, and especially one that's right-hand drive. So
Well, we could tell how motivated you are because there's no for sale sign in it.
it's on the back window.
Oh, well,
Yeah, just in case his wife's listening.
Yeah, but I park it in the backyard too because I don't drive it that often.
and
so-
you said this is an LS motor?
yeah, this is an LS1.
Okay.
It's out of a F-body Camaro.
Oh, okay.
It's got a GTO transmission and subframe, and the suspension's all the same as GTO. So.
Well, the wheels are right off
Yeah,
the
those
GTO
are actually
too.
GTO wheels
Yeah.
too. So
That really, why didn't they make that here in the U.S.?
Gutless,
well,
absolutely
imagine,
gutless management who didn't have courage enough because they were all bean counters and they weren't car people. That's been the downfall of General Motors for the last 30 years.
Conrad's not bitter after getting laid off after 28 years.
right?
But
I'd be salty too, right?
seriously, now they're talking about finally, after I've been after this for the past 15, 20 years, why don't they make a small pickup truck? Well,
true.
guess what? Now they're all going to start making a small pickup truck like the old Ford Ranger, that size.
Chevy Love.
Well, you know they
Here
make
it
a
is
little,
right there.
little version of this in Mexico called the Tornado. It's a little front-wheel drive four-cylinder. It looks like a shrunk version of it.
Is it really?
Yeah,
Who builds that?
Chevy.
I didn't know that.
Chevy builds a Tornado in Mexico.
Yeah.
And they
But-
just switch a couple of letters around, and it's a tornado.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, it's just how you pronounce it, I think, isn't it?
You know, I was real fortunate when I went to Australia. I spent days in the junkyard from open to close pulling parts and bought a bunch of spare parts to bring over for our community for GTO people. And I was lucky enough to get a tour of the HSV plant in 2017.
Oh, wow.
Because they stopped production of vehicles in 2017
Right.
too. So it was.
Are they out of
So did-
business?
so
They're
did-
out of business as of December of 2020 completely, but they stopped producing rear-wheel drive V8 vehicles, producing any vehicles in Australia, and started importing them. And then everybody in Australia just had a fit over that and stopped buying, and that was the demise
That pretty well
of
killed
Holden.
it off.
Yeah.
So as they were going out of business, how many shipping containers of stuff did you bring home?
I shared some containers, so I've got some stuff on the boat right now.
Multiples.
Multiple. He's still got stuff on the boat.
I got about, I guess, $10,000 or $15,000 worth of stuff on the boat right now. I'm waiting to get here. So, as soon as-
Let me ask you this:
Mechanical parts or
are
body
you,
parts?
are you
body parts.
are you dealing? I mean, are you selling some of the stuff that you bring
Oh,
over
yeah.
to kind of offset the shipping and everything else?
Exactly.
I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got like 15,000 pounds of GTO and Monaro parts. So I've got a big storage building. And
Can't you just order it on Amazon?
not quite. And, you know, and as soon as Holden closed in December, the price of everything just shot up
Skyrocketed.
dramatically. You know.
Yeah, 'cause
Well, I know one of the characteristics of the 0406 GTO was the key fobs were horribly designed because after you put a
kidding.
third key fob in it,
It'll take 4.
yeah, but then you have to replace the module
Yes.
because
And you-
it's not cheap and probably isn't even available anymore.
There are some. You can't get Pontiac ones.
You've got some, right?
I've got spares, but you know these things, you can't reprogram a used one from another car to
Right.
this one. I mean they're locked to that BCM unless you know what you're doing with the Tech 2 or turn off the VATs or something like that. I've got all that stuff too, but
How did you gain all of this knowledge? I mean, are you a mechanic or?
I'm a master mechanic. Yeah.
Where at?
Well, I'm working for myself right now, but
Okay.
I worked in tire shops and independent shops for years.
No
since-
dealerships?
No, never worked in a
Never
dealership.
got any of that Pontiac training as those were coming over?
No, I learned all mine the hard way. Like I say, my friend had a 04 GTO, and then I got mine in 05. I've been working on them and collecting parts ever since. I work on about 50 in the Houston area. People come from Austin, from pretty big distance because I take care of their vehicles
Well,
and I know what I'm
you
doing.
also have to know what you're doing on those because of the Australian connection.
Yeah.
There's a lot of unique things about the way that's wired, I'll say, more
Correct.
than anything else,
They have a lot of intricacies.
that
That's not the
aren't
right word.
on normal domestic cars.
Correct.
They do things differently.
Yeah.
Even in the way that they name the modules and stuff is totally
Security
different than what
systems
they
is supposed to have been unstealable, but there's been a lot stolen, usually by wrecker. But I'm constantly on Facebook and on the forums and stuff trying to help people troubleshoot issues with them. And like I say, I've always got the spare parts. So
Now, do you have a garage that you work out of?
I
to
work
do your,
out of my garage at
your
the house.
garage, yeah.
But I'm working
Just bring
on
it
opening
on
a
over.
shop.
We'll take care of it.
Yeah. I'm working on opening a shop, so hopefully sometime this year
yeah.
I'll have a
get some of that stuff out of the backyard.
yeah. All of it is coming out of the backyard, and all of it will come out of storage and into that shop. So my wife will be real happy about that.
Well, but there's a pretty big following of that generation GTO and the G8 that are interested in the parts that you have as well.
Right.
Because they're difficult to find, and generally the dealers haven't had inventory on those for years because as the vehicles went out of production, what little bit the dealers had, people
got
went and
used
bought.
up.
No,
Yeah.
people went and bought the dealer's inventory of them because they knew that as they went out of production, it wasn't going to be replaceable.
Yeah, a lot of these parts are also GTO-G8TA.com bought a whole bunch of these parts, right? So they have a bunch of new old stock. Plus, they're remaking a whole bunch of stuff too to help support the market, and they got great customer service. So when there's something I can't find or I can't get, I go to them, to get parts I need.
Is that bunch over in, is it Georgia? No?
I'm not sure.
Are they doing the conversions on the Chevy Camaros into the Bandit cars?
Oh,
and
No,
stuff?
no.
That's
Those are in
different.
Florida.
Those, yeah.
That's a TA Trans Am Depot. I think.
Trans Am Depot.
Now this is GTOG8TA.com. So they do GTOs, G8s, and Trans Am parts only. They don't do any service or repairs or anything. They just sell parts.
Gotcha.
So on that, I'll call it the platform, GTO UTE platform, one of the biggest complaints I've always heard from people who bought them was wheels and tires, because the offset of the rear axle doesn't lend itself to put a fatty on the back.
It doesn't, but if you got some money and
Well, you can do anything if you got some money.
my GTO, I've mini tubbed it and took the factory
Okay.
17s and had them widened 1.5 inches, and I've got 315s that go behind it, but if I do a coilover relocate, I could put 335s under the back.
Okay. Because that's the uniqueness of the car, and generally the domestic cars didn't sell that kind of an offset. So
Yeah.
it was always hard to find wheels for that.
It was tight to squeeze a 275 under there unmodified without rubbing. And, there's lots of different wheels. And when you get them, they're narrower than the factory wheels, unless you custom order them with the right offset.
Cool.
How did you get into this? Because this would probably been in your high school years, correct?
No. I built my first engine when I was 13. I've never went to school or anything. I just can understand mechanicals. It doesn't matter
Okay.
what you're working on,
Yeah.
a crane or airplane. It's all nuts and bolts. So I'm a car guy. I've had lots of classic cars, but when that GTO came out, I got invited to the Auto Show in Motion by GM
Yeah.
here at Houston, right? And so they give you an armband. You got a ticket for a ride in a Corvette and a ticket for a ride in the Hummer, and everything else is free range. Well, they've got these GTOs out there with all the other basic cars on this little autocross course. And
Nobody really understood what the GTO was either.
I did.
No, but as
I
far
was
as
on
GM and them, I
Right,
don't
right.
think they did.
And so they said, don't spin the tires coming off the line. Don't knock any cones over. And me and my friend, man, we were timing ourselves around this thing until they finally kicked us off. And, that was on the 04, and I really liked it. Another friend bought one, and then the next year when we got invited back, it was like, if you make the tire squeal go around a turn, we're kicking you off the course. And it wasn't just us, it was everybody. But I really was waiting for that 05 because it had the LS2 in it.
Right.
And, it was
And the
hood
duals
scoops.
and the hood scoops, yeah.
Right.
The dual outlet in the back.
And so I was all down to convincing the wife, and I was talking about, I did give up my 81 Z28 when our first daughter was born so we could remodel the baby's room. So that was kind of my...
Is the wife here today?
No.
You don't bring her to these, do you?
No, she's sleeping in. She's not a car person, but she's very supportive
She just
of
got
what
a
I
house
do.
full of cars.
Yeah. Yeah. But she's very supportive of me, and so I'm very thankful for that.
Yeah. Well, lucky you.
Yeah.
Because it just doesn't happen all the
No.
time.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the things about that what I'll call the platform is one of the greatest seats in the car business. The rest of the interior is pretty nice, but what a wonderful, luscious seat that is to sit in.
To be honest, that was the thing that sold me. I was looking at Mustangs also at the time, and the seat, I've got a bad back, and where most
Sure.
cars I can ride 30 minutes, I can ride 3 hours in that with no problem.
I'm
Yeah, they're-
coming over to your house. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have some fun.
All right. Well, hey, it's great for you to stop by. We really appreciate the time, and great.
Telling us about your car
Yeah,
and
we really-
your passion for the car as well.
Yeah, I love these cars. I'm a Holden guy, and
Well, I've never seen one, and that is good looking.
They've got ones that I'd love to have over here. They've got all-wheel drive station wagons with LS1s in them, and crew cab Utes.
You know what? If that had a
Yeah,
six-cylinder,
yeah.
I'd like it.
Yeah, this was a
Yeah,
base
this is a
six-cylinder
good-looking car.
originally,
Yeah.
right? But they were a base model, so this one doesn't have ABS or traction control.
And so you couldn't even get them in the GTO. It had to have all that stuff.
Yeah, it had to, and like the SS had this stuff, had all the good stuff. But the base model was just a stripped-down version, pretty much. So
Well, Danny, thanks so much for stopping
Yes,
by.
sir.
We really
Thank you for having
appreciate
me.
it. Thank you
Yeah,
very
thank
much.
you.
We hope
Have
to
a
see
good
you
one.
again.
All right,
All
thanks.
right. All right, thanks for joining us here on today's In Wheel Time Car Show, coming to you live today from the Loopy Tortilla Mexican Restaurant and the Tailpipes and Tacos Cruise In. Time now for Conrad's Car Clinic. What do you got for us today?
Well, we're going to talk a little bit about what happens if you overheat your car. The cooling system in a car not only cools the engine, it's also cooling the transmission. It cools and works the air conditioning system. Some vehicles have power steering coolers on them as well. So if your car overheats, and cars overheating isn't as common as it used to be, but if your car overheats, you really need to immediately kind of click it off, find a safe place to pull over and stop and turn the engine off, because if you don't do something like that, you can cause some pretty catastrophic damage to it pretty quickly. In the hot season like the summer, if you see that your temperature's starting to rise, turn the air conditioning off, because the way that the coolant stack is in there, the air conditioner is the first component, and then the radiator's behind it. So it's pulling heat out of the air conditioner, so it's blowing hot air over the radiator. So it can get your cooling system to work a little bit better if you click your air conditioning system off. And, if it's overheating, you want to look at why. First thing you want to look at, do you have any of those funny colored fluids underneath the vehicle on the ground? Because coolants today can be green, blue, orange, purple, pink, yellow, red, all different colors. And the funny thing about that is all of those colors are just that. It's a dye that's added to the coolant to give it a color so that the manufacturer can identify what coolant's in it. I highly recommend that you use the coolant that your vehicle was spec'd for, and there are some very good universals out there as well. But if you're going to use a universal, you want to make sure you flush your coolant system, because some coolants don't like to play well together. So you want to make sure you get all of the old out before you put something different inside of it. But again, if your car does overheat, go ahead and turn the car, as quickly as you can, pull off safely, turn the car off immediately. Once you've pulled over to a safe spot, pop the hood. Don't touch anything, because everything's going to be hot. And if there's steam blowing out of something, don't get real close to it, and let it begin to cool off. If you do happen to have a cooler or like a drink cooler or something, and you want to go ahead and let it kind of leak, open up the little tap on it so it goes down over the radiator, that'll help cool the engine down a little bit quicker. But in most cases, you're going to need to contact a professional to find out why. If all it did was popped a hose and the coolant system got low, that's pretty easy to correct. But most cars today, you don't see hose failures. What you're going to see is going to be generally a failure of a coolant fan not coming on, or one of the more common things, and especially on Corvettes, Don, is because they're what are called bottom breathers. All of the air for the radiator comes in under the bumper.
Yes, I am very familiar with that.
Sometimes you can scoop up some of those plastic bags and stuff, and they'll get over the radiator, and that can cause you to overheat.
It's funny you should say that, because all of my Camaros were that way from the 80s on up. And yes, you had to check. I checked underneath there all the time.
And it needs to be a practice to check under there, because if you don't and you do overheat, it can be pretty catastrophic.
And if you don't want to get on your hands and knees or on your back to look underneath there, they make those mirrors with the retractable wand on them. You just look underneath there.
Well, yeah, when I get down on something, when I have to look at something
like that. I was going to say, would you like to rephrase that?
I'll take my phone, and I'll lean over and take a picture underneath there.
Yeah.
But it's real important that you keep your radiator, the front of the radiator, clean of debris, whether it's plastic debris or leaves and stuff. All of that stuff can cause you to overheat. So, again, if your car overheats, click it off. Park in a safe spot and stop.
Figure out what the heck's going on. Okay. Time now for some of the stories making automotive news headlines this week. Nissan North America recalling 126,809.2 vehicles because of a potential tire failure.
Yikes.
Recall includes certain 2019 to 2020 Altimas, 18 to 21 Titan models also, equipped with Continental tires. One or more tires on the vehicles in question may have been cured too long in production, Sidewalls.
I didn't even know they were sick.
Sidewalls in the over-cured tires could break. Belt edge separation may also occur. Either condition could cause a loss of vehicle control, increasing the risk of a crash, according to the recall notice. About 1% of recall vehicles are believed to have the defect, the company said. So check your tires. If it's Continental, you'll definitely want to take it into the dealer. Hyundai Motor America is recalling 100,000 vehicles in the U.S. and Canada from its Genesis luxury division because of problems with the anti-lock brake system, which could result in an electrical short and vehicle thermal event. The affected vehicles include certain 15 to 16 Hyundai Genesis sedans, 17 to 20 Genesis G80 midsize sedans, too. Hyundai said the affected vehicles in both recalls were equipped with anti-lock brake system modules that could malfunction and cause an electrical short over time, potentially resulting in an engine compartment thermal event while the vehicle is driven or parked.
Shake on it.
Yikes.
Have other recalls to tell you about. Mercedes-Benz Metris from the 2021 model year. The front passenger seat frame was not welded properly. So if you've got an ex-wife that's traveling with you in the Metris, there you go. There's your answer.
Depends on what she weighs.
Oh.
So, go ahead.
No.
Well, you heard Ford is moving the Avon Lake assembly plant to Mexico.
Sad.
And I think the unions are just a little upset.
A little ticked.
Yeah.
A little ticked. But
say the least. The Nissan Sentra 2016 to 2019 models. Brake lights may not illuminate. Kia Cadenza and Sportage from the 17 to 21 models could have an engine compartment thermal event.
Gosh.
Don't want to have that. Nissan tie rod ball joint fastener may not have been tightened properly.
That's just a lack of steering event.
Yeah.
You know, General Motors issued a non-compliance recall on 2017 and 18 Chevy Silverados and GMC Sierra HDs that may have factory-equipped faulty seatbelt retractor assemblies as well.
Loose subframe bolts on the Ford Mustang Mach-E. Can you buy it yet?
No.
It's the 21 model. That could have things really mess up. Volkswagen Atlas from 2018 to 2019 could have a tire failure caused by a sudden air loss. Really?
A sudden air
loss. Love that. Lower control arm may detach due to corrosion on the Mitsubishi Outlander Sport 2013 to 2015 models. No kidding.
That's a bad thing.
Yeah, that is a bad thing. So sorry.
So you heard the 2022 Ram 1500 and Ram HD trucks are going to offer a trailer 360 view with an optional behind-the-trailer camera system as well.
No, I didn't know that.
That's going to be pretty cool.
All right, quick break now. The In Wheel Time Car Show continues right after this.
Tailpipes and Tacos is Houston's premier cruise-in, and you're invited to join in. Whether you're a cruiser or spectator, Tailpipes and Tacos is the place to enjoy made-to-order breakfast tacos, fresh coffee, and mingle with Houston's fun car people. Mark your calendar for Saturday, April 17th for Tailpipes and Tacos at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant in Katy, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tailpipes and Tacos is free and everyone is invited. You'll see collector cars, hot rods, customs, magnificent originals, and resto mods all in one location. Cars from all over Southeast Texas cruise in and show off in a friends and family event at the Lupi Tortilla Mexican Restaurant on the Grand Parkway at Kingsland Boulevard, just south of I-10 in Katy. Drag racer, car enthusiast, and Lupi founder Stan Holt brings you Houston's hottest cruise-in, Tailpipes and Tacos, Saturday, April 17th, 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy. The In Wheel Time Car Show will be there too. Get your ride ready, and we'll see you at the Tailpipes and Tacos Saturday morning cruise-in, April 17th, 8 to 11 a.m. at Lupi's in Katy, weather permitting. Is your business or company looking to stand out in a crowded advertising market? Looking to reach the real auto enthusiast? Well, you found it. You're listening or watching In Wheel Time, and so are your fellow enthusiasts. The In Wheel Time Car Show now reaches 500,000, and we can put together a marketing plan that will engage them in your product, business, or service. To get the tires rolling, just shoot us an email to our marketing director, Jeff Zekin. His address is jeff@inwheeltime.com. If you're in charge of your company's small, medium, or large business anywhere in the U.S., let the On Hold Company help you retain customers and promote your business on your telephone system. Promote special sales or company info when placed on hold. The On Hold Company provides custom on-hold messages with professional male or female voices, licensed background music with no long-term contract, no monthly recurring bill, and updates your messages as needed. Call the On Hold Company at 713-223-HOLD or go to onhold.net.